Get out.
I've got to talk to you.
Just go away.
But I want to talk to you.
I don't care what you want. Get out.
I've got a right.
Oh, if you're going to start talking about rights, forget it.
What?
If it isn't there naturally, no rights are going to make it.
But I must talk to you.
No, you mustn't.
Why mustn't I?
Because your time's over. Are you going?
Oh, come on, girl. I can explain.
I should hope so, indeed.
What does that mean?
If you hadn't got a concise, neat, and completely acceptable explanation, I'd have been wasting my time for the past 2 years.
It really is the wrong time, then, isn't it?
Yeah. But not just today, this afternoon. Every day, every afternoon, always. Go away.
I looked for you.
I moved.
I know, but why?
So you wouldn't be able to find me, of course.
Stella.
I've blown you out.
No, Stella.
You're over.
Look, Stella, you belong to me.
Yeah. Like the Isle of Wight. It's always been there, so it always will. No, thank you.
No? You just belong to me, that's all.
Don't try it, because I'll tell you just how dead you are.
You don't mean that.
You could make love to me with all your advanced techniques, and I wouldn't even notice.
What brought all this on?
Oh, go away, will you?
No, I won't. Otherwise, I'll have been wasting the last 2 years as well.
Why can't you cut your losses and be a man? Write the damn thing off as experience and push off from where you're not wanted.
I won't believe that. I know you've always wanted me.
You can go off people, you know.
I'm not people.
You said it.
That's a cheap remark.
I haven't been mixing with the luxury trade much lately.
But I want you to marry me.
Why? It never came up before.
All right, but that's what you want, isn't it?
No, that's not what I want. Or, oddly enough, ever wanted.
I don't believe you.
No, it's what you want. You think that way you can get me back. If you could, you'd say you were having a baby and I had to marry you. Well, I'm not playing Sir Jasper to your orphan Annie.
Stella.
You may find this hard to make, but I didn't think marriage was obligatory or even necessary if you loved me and I loved you.
I do love you.
But as you're not pregnant and I don't love you, suggesting marriage is somewhat obscene. Wouldn't you agree?
You're too clever for me, Stella.
Then why don't you go, instead of lousing up the place with sick marriage proposals?
I just thought that was what you wanted.
Did you? I wonder why.
Well, I could think of no other reason for you walking out on me.
I didn't walk out. I strode purposefully down Addison Road, made Holland Park Avenue, and hailed the first taxi. Oh, go away.
No.
Didn't you hear me? Go away.
I came back to our place on Sunday.
How was your mother?
And you were gone.
But you couldn't take the hint.
Hint? You just disappeared. No note, nothing.
You expected something.
Yes, I expected something.
How do you make that out?
Well, if somebody removes their physical presence from their usual scene, explanations are in order, I'd have said.
You've trampled with hobnail boots through my emotional life, in, out, across and astride, without note or visiting cards forever. Why should you expect them from me?
Because you're given to them. You always were pretty busy with that pen of yours.
All right. Let's say I'm slow. It takes me a long time to learn. But if I'm given enough examples, I finally catch on. I twig. I get it. At last the penny drops. I took a leaf out of your book and behaved the way you do. I just did what I wanted to do when I felt like it. I moved on. I put space between us and leaving no forwarding address, I moved on.
You knew I was coming back.
How?
I always do.
Yeah. Whenever you go home to Mother, you always come back.
I've got nowhere else to go.
God, you're impudent. Either way, that's what you are. Plain damned impudent.
I've never pretended to be anything else.
And you think that's enough? You sit there like little boy lost, and you think that's enough?
Well, it ought to be. You don't ask a leopard to ditch its spots, do you?
When I want a leopard, I'll phone the rent-a-leopard service.
You know what I mean.
Oh, but I do. You've been pretending to be a man for the past 2 years, and I've suddenly realized you aren't. You are a leopard. A feline. Well, I don't fancy leopards. They try to kid you they're pretty, big, cuddly cats. But they bite, scratch, and gobble you down. They're predators, and I can live without one.
All this has been said before, you know.
Yes, it has. But not after I've managed to break away from you for 7 whole days. I mean, it's different now.
How?
Those 7 days have broken the habit. You're just strange enough for me to get a clear look at you and not like what I see.
But I haven't changed. I'm the same. I feel the same way.
That shirt. I don't know it.
I only bought it yesterday.
Shopping while you're worried about me? Yeah. Whenever a girl gets depressed, she runs out and buys herself a new hat.
Shut up.
It's awful. It's nasty. 2 whole years and you're back to square one in 7 days flat. Didn't I make any impression on you at all?
All the time, but I resisted it.
I suppose I deserve that.
I think you did. And when you're ready to talk sensibly...
You mean come to my senses, don't you?
You could say that.
No, I wouldn't say it. You would. But what you really mean is when I'm feeling lonely enough to worry and let the worry turn into guilt that you can exploit, you'll pounce. Leopards are like that.
I never meant that.
You never meant anything. You just followed your own selfish emotional needs, hoping I'll get trapped into weakening and giving in to your sentimental blackmail again. I know your preordained grooves.
You'll be sorry for all this. That's all right. I can wait.
Not here, you can't.
I'm not going. What started all this off?
Doesn't even matter.
It does. If I knew, we could talk about it.
You'd like that, wouldn't you? A talk. 2 adult, sane people exchanging psychological backchat with bags of verbs like relate and relationship balancing the flow. No thanks. No talk, sonny boy. But how about a little action?
Such as?
Like you getting the hell out of this room.
Now look, Stella, I'm beginning to get annoyed.
Is that the living truth? He's getting annoyed. What's it like? A hot flush, back of legs trembling, heart pounding like brandy? Tell me, what's it like?
Stella, I'm an ordinary man.
I hope you don't believe that.
What?
That you're an ordinary man.
Well, of course I am. Ask anyone.
How about your mum? Ask her, should I?
My mother has got nothing to do with us.
Working on the fact that we aren't an us anymore, I'll accept that. I'm me and you're you.
Then it is to do with my mother.
She brought you into the world, so ultimately blame has to go back to her, I suppose.
My mother's never tried to come between us.
Of course she hasn't. You just pushed the poor cow in the way. Whenever the going got too demanding, you grabbed hold of her by the pinny and held her between us. It's taken me 7 days to work that one out, but work it out I did.
That's hysterical paranoia.
I thought that Sigmund Freud's bumper Christmas annual I gave you would come in useful one day. Mind, I didn't think you'd have the cheek to use it on me. After all, I'd read it first.
Stella, love. I'm sorry.
Generally or specifically?
I've obviously made you very unhappy. No one has the right to do that to anyone. I'm sorry.
So you're going?
I am not.
Oh, you're just going to hang around and make me more unhappy.
No.
Well, that's the logic of what you're saying.
No, it isn't. Look, if you'd let me, we could sit down and work this thing out.
You make it all sound like a chapel committee.
Just try and work it out, that's all.
Don't you understand? I don't want to. I've read your book and I didn't like it.
You did once.
Let's say my taste has matured.
I shouldn't have gone home last weekend.
You shouldn't. But more to the point, you said home.
Oh, it's an expression.
You went home. We lived in a place for 2 years, but at the end of that time, you still went home.
I didn't mean home.
I tried all I knew to make it our home, but it never managed to become that to you. Okay, it didn't work. If I recognize it, why can't you?
I don't want to.
You're right, of course you don't.
I'm only being honest.
Well, screw you and your insensitive honesty.
You can't attack honesty, Stella. It's not on, girl.
Oh, yes, I can. Your sort of honesty hurts too much, because you only use it before or after you're going to pull a stroke.
Rubbish.
Like you don't tell me you're going down to see your mother, knowing I've planned a whole weekend. Mug here says, all right, go. Destroys me, but forget it, go. Only, have your lunch first. What's for lunch? Chops. Now, you've got a lot of alternatives. I don't like chops. I'm not hungry. Or even the real truth. I'm having lunch down there. But what do you say? No thanks. You can't cook chops. That was the spill. That was you at your most typical. You screw my weekend, and for good measure, you chuck in honesty. You can't cook chops.
Chops? What are chops got to do with it?
They were the epilogue.
I can't see that.
Yes, there is a tendency for communications to break down between us unless I abandon my own point of view and suffer yours. Well, I'm fed up with suffering a fool gladly.
I see. And you think I'm a fool, then?
I do.
That's the most hurtful thing you've ever said to me. Even if you don't mean it.
I do mean it. And besides, I'm only being honest, and you can't attack honesty. It's not on.
I'm not a fool.
You are.
Why?
You do foolish things.
Sometimes, maybe, but not all the time.
All right. You don't work at it, but your predominant characteristic is foolishness.
I'm sorry.
Fool. You can't apologize your way out of foolishness.
Stop calling me a fool.
You didn't know when you were on to a good thing. I cooked for you. I listened to you. I was always sexually available. But like all fools, you thought I was a fool, too. I suddenly realized that last Saturday. Sitting there, all alone, no friends, nothing to do. Just wait for you to waltz back. I said to myself, Stella, only a fool would do what you're doing. So I abandoned folly and moved out.
Well, you're not abandoning me just because you've had one of your clever turns. Anyway, I know what's best for you.
You know nothing about me. You only know how to use me.
But that's what you like, isn't it?
I told you it's finished.
I've heard that before, too, but I'm not having it. Get your stuff packed. You're coming back.
No.
And I said yes.
Don't you touch me.
I'm going to.
You lay a finger on me and I'll scream.
My shadow's all over you now.
Keep away.
I'm surrounding you.
I'm warning you. I'll kill you.
Kiss me.
No!
You shouldn't have done that. You'll be sorry. Kiss me better.
No!
Kiss me.
No!
Kiss me.
Please.
That's better. Kiss me. It always was a rotten view from here, wasn't it? Wasn't it?
Yes.
I never liked this part of London.
You've never lived here.
That's why. Never liked it. It's unfashionable. Yeah. That's what it is. Unfashionable.
It wasn't always that way.
Well, it is now. And that's all that really matters. Isn't it? Isn't it?
I suppose so.
I'm glad you agree. How are you doing?
I feel as though I've been run over by a big red bus. Not altogether unpleasant, I must say.
Glad you're suited.
My frame is. I don't know about my deep heart's core, though.
You're what?
Let it go. Let it go, bully boy.
You're a funny woman, Stella.
Yeah. I'm quite a clown.
How did you find this place?
How did you find it?
I went to your office. They told me you'd taken a week off. One of the girls gave me this address.
You can always depend on the loyalty of your own sex. When was this?
Tuesday.
And today's Saturday. You took your time.
I thought I'd let you stew for a few days.
In my own juice.
Sure. In your own juice.
That was cruel of you.
What did you expect? Didn't ask you to go. Didn't want you to go. I didn't expect you to go. You just waited until I wasn't around, then sneaked off, didn't you?
Yeah. I sneaked off.
Then I'm entitled to pay you back.
God, you're a horrible man.
Maybe. But I'm what you needed for the past 2 years, aren't I?
I'm afraid the evidence seems to point that way.
Oh, stop being clever, Stella. You don't know yourself the way I do. You kid yourself all the time. It's not my fault you fancy me. You can't blame me because I can make you do whatever I want. Why don't you just stop fighting? Give in and take your medicine. It'll be good for you in the end.
Frank admission of my own nature will see off all my life's little problems, eh?
Something like that.
Tell me, and try to make it simple. How do you see our being together?
We live together?
Well, I didn't mean that simple. Why do you think we're together?
Why not?
All right. What do you think of me as... to you, I mean?
Well, mostly I don't think of you. I mean, you're there and you're mine, aren't you? Except when you get stroppy and start messing me about, but I can take care of that. It's a bit of a nuisance, but it keeps me on my toes. No. Most of the time you suit me, Stella. Of course, you're a drama queen. You have to churn up the waters. Well, that's all right. As long as it doesn't get out of hand. And it won't. I won't let it.
How will you manage to stop it?
Ah, you know.
Yes, I know. But I'd like you to give me the details.
All right. I'll let you carry on, tear me off a strip, get all worked up. But when I've had enough, I stop you.
How?
You know.
Tell me.
All right, I attack you, I smother you, and I make you behave yourself for the time being. Anyway, I think it's all an act to get me to pay attention to you. You like being raped. That's all. And I don't mind.
Thank you.
Providing you don't go off disappearing all over the place. I like you around.
Why?
Well, I just do. I'm used to you, so I do.
You make me sound pretty abject. Why would you want such a spineless creature? Or is that what a big, strong fellow like you needs?
Most of the time you're fine. Just fine. Then you start getting restless, that's all.
And shouldn't I?
If it makes you feel happy, be whatever you want to be. As long as it doesn't mess me about.
Do you know that great folklore moment? Do you love me? Really love me? Well, I clout you, don't I?
Yeah?
That would seem to be us, wouldn't it?
Anything you say.
All right. Anything I say. It's not enough.
Now, Stella.
Do you remember when you first arrived here? I said you could make love to me and it wouldn't even notice.
Oh, you say these things and you're always sorry after.
I'm not this time. Oh, I was wrong. I did notice. But it doesn't seem to have the same lasting effect.
What's that mean?
All over me, the little shattered fragments are reforming at a hell of a lick.
Get your things.
I don't think so.
You're coming back with me now.
Home? That'll be the day.
Stella, pack your things.
Your musk rose has lost its scent.
What now?
I noticed when you made me behave myself back there. It was fun. But it was very limited fun. Like I enjoyed the exercise. But it'll never be a way of life again.
Stella?
You should have come round yesterday. That was your day. Bad Friday. But today's my anniversary. The 7th day without you. And I don't need you. And before you say anything, that last time was for goodbye.
You still need me, girl.
What for? All I have to do is walk up any dark alley. There's bound to be the odd rapist hanging about, ready to do me a favor.
I didn't mean
You
that.
didn't? Well, that's what it sounded like from down here. Tarzan.
Shut up!
Your muscle isn't big enough to make me anymore. How about you? All my despair and isolation was just messing about. When I have to force in violence to make some point of contact for us, it's written off as one of my kinks. Oh, you put up with it as long as it doesn't get out of hand and interfere with your rich, full life. Whatever that may be.
I've had enough of this. We're going.
Oh, do leave off. You think all you've got to do is wrestle with me for 5 minutes, pin my shoulders to the mat, count 3, and straight off I'll pack me case, then balancing it on my head like the washing, follow you to whatever oasis you have in mind. Well, I've stopped enjoying that game. It's over. You can get someone else to cook your chops.
Chops? Have you got soft in the head? What have chops got to do with it?
Everything. Go on. Out.
I've tried everything I know. I've tried everything.
And it doesn't work. Out, out, out.
I've always been straight with you,
And
Stella.
I've got the marks to prove it. Out. You're the only one in the world I know who can make a slimy vice out of honesty. Well, I've had enough. You've lost. Out! Chops.